One of the things that irritates me the most is the lack of understanding of where we want to go as a race in next 500 years, 600 years. I was looking at this list of top 10 challenges of United Nations for this decade, and they talk about climate change, sustainable development, conflict resolution, human rights violations, all short-term goals, etc., etc. None of those goals is inclined toward where we want to be as a race in next 600 years, next 1000 years. And if you talk to those guys, then they would probably come up and say that they are not there to answer this question. But then who the hell is? Because in my opinion, this is the most important question that we are facing right now, where we want to go as a race in long term. Not in like next 5 or 10 years that we develop electronic vehicles that everyone could hop on, use cars, be more and more of an energy consumer. You see, never in past this question was as important as it is today, that where we want to go as a civilization in next 500 years or next 1000 years, long-term vision. That is because we are changing this planet like anything. We are making progress with a much faster accelerated rate than we have been doing in last forever. Life has changed more in last 100 years in comparison to it has changed in last 10,000 years. There are quite many indicators to point out to that. So if we want to determine the future of our race, then we have to take decisions which are long term. First of all, we have to make a plan of what kind of future we want for our race. Do we want to have same type of division that we are having in current world, that we are divided among country and religion and we fight over the border, and we have least amount of acceptance for each other, at least in major part of the world? Is that the type of future we want, that we burn the planet, that we make so much carbon emission that the other life forms are not able to survive? These are the kind of questions that we have to ask, and the major problem is that the average lifespan of a human is such a small number in comparison to the evolution timelines, that whatever decision a leader is going to take to make people happy so that he could stay in the power in short term, in 5 years, 10 years, they are hardly going to matter in long terms. Do you really believe that people like Joe Biden or Xi Jinping, they have enough courage to defy their investors who have invested heavily in their political campaign? They are going to act against the interest of those investors. Do you really believe that? This is never gonna happen, never. And that is just because of the fact that these people are so much spineless. They are not so visionary that they could take tough decisions that the human race could thrive on this planet Earth. Like other successful species, for example dinosaurs. Dinosaurs lasted on Earth for more than 250 million years, and from primates to now, humans have only lived on this planet for about 30 million years. So in order to become a species that is as successful as dinosaurs, we have to spend 7 times more time than we have already spent on this planet, from primates to now, from monkey to now. And these are the evolution timelines. And the world is so much divided into identity politics that no one is really looking at the future. There is a very famous saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So after the Second World War, if all these leaders who were existing at that time, if they had a very strong vision of how the world is going to look like in 2030, they probably would have invested more money into the research, into bringing out the clean source of energy. Because right now we are burning coal to get most of our energy. Essentially, we are burning the whole planet. Let me give you a solid example of it. The budget of NASA is about 20 billion and the budget of US military defense is 720 billion. So essentially we could run 36 research centers like NASA in the defense budget of United States. So hydrogen fusion is the clean source of energy that everyone knew since 1950 or 1960. So instead of putting all the money into the defense, had United States put all that money into the research, we would have, let's say, made the fusion reactor 36 times faster, and we were having clean source of energy already, and we would have stopped burning this planet. This is the type of understanding that one is required and the very strong decision that the leaders have to take. But the problem is that in big countries like India, China, United States, Russia, and everywhere else, these leaders are somehow trying to secure their place, win the election by any measure, and secure their place for 5 years or 10 years and stay in the power. There is nobody who is willing to sacrifice his position and make a solid plan for next 100 years, next 200 years, so that humanity could thrive here on this planet. There is a very common saying in every culture across the globe that the type of leader a society is going to get is a very strong reflection of the society itself. So people are so much busy in fulfilling their short-term goals, short-term happiness, that they are not able to think in long terms. I mean, if we just keep on evolving like this, there is a guarantee that in 100 or 200 years, the planet is going to be completely deserted. And the food is going to be grown into the greenhouse chambers. Most of the land is going to be infertile. The cities are going to be covered in the sea. And so much nonsense is going on across the globe about the temperature. I mean, you will see that quite many educated people talk that global warming is really a myth. I mean, you don't need to go to scientists to understand the global warming. Just talk to any person who has grown up in a village. Or just ask yourself, are you not seeing the changes that we are causing to this planet? You know, we have already killed 98% of the species that have been existing on this planet already in last 50 to 60 years. Some educated minds say that 1 degree or 2 degree temperature is nothing. Let me explain to you that your body temperature normally is about 37 degrees Celsius. And when you are shivering under very strong fever, it is only 40 degrees. So a change in 3 degrees of temperature is going to make you shiver. So just imagine what would happen if the global temperature rise by 1.5 degrees. That is a very, very big number. And inevitably that is going to happen. You know, if you allow a system to evolve itself, it's always going to choose highest possible entropy. Highest possible chaos is what it is going to choose if it is not planned. So what scientists see is that probably there is no hope for humanity to be thriving as it is thriving today. It is just not possible on any sort of scale. So if we allow ourselves to just go without any planning, then what is going to happen in future is that 100 or 200 years down the line, 50 to 80% of the land is going to be completely deserted. The ozone layer will be gone, and we will be living inside the planet Earth so that we could protect ourselves from the ultraviolet radiations. The food is going to be grown on industrial level inside the greenhouses. We are going to lose the freedom to walk on this planet among the green, because there will be no green left at that time. Only in next 100 years this is going to happen. There is plenty of research done on this topic that in next 50 to 100 years, most of the civilization that is living in the coastal region, you know, most of our cities, they are based at the coastal region, they are going to be completely submerged in the sea. The sea levels are going to rise so much. The glaciers are going to be gone completely. The planet is going to lose its fertility. and then humans are going to live inside the planet as shown in a lot of movies already. If that is the type of future we want for our children to have in next 100 years, well fine, just keep burning the oil at the same rate as we are burning today. And if we want another future for our children, then we seriously need to sit on a table all these political leaders, and not only the political leaders but also people, instead of fighting over identity politics, instead of fighting over religion and the landmass that we are inhabiting, we should be sitting on the table and discussing these kind of things where we want to take this civilization. And the problem is simple. We have to find clean source of energy, and for that we have to spend heavy amount of money, most of our earnings. Instead of putting it into the defense sector, we have to put it into research so that we can find a clean source of energy. And then we have to reduce our population. Instead of propagating information that we have to grow our population, which industrialists are going to tell you always, because the more people there are, their product is gonna be sold more and they are gonna make more money out of it. We actually have to reduce our population at least by a factor of 10. And there is no quick fix to these problems. Bigger the problem, the more coordinated efforts are going to be required and the more time is needed. Simple. And I see no hope of that happening in future, because our leaders are so much busy in somehow securing their place and to stay in the power, that they are only planning to make the population happy and grow rich in very, very short term, 5 years, 10 years, and not making big plans which could, let's say, catapult our civilization to another degree. If we do nothing about it, then definitely the nature is going to make its balance. The size of the population is going to fall anyway, because it's just not sustainable for Earth to cope up with such a large population. So the size of the population is going to fall anyway. The only question we have to answer is whether we want to have our children living on this burnt planet, living inside the planet and not having access to green, or we want to have fewer people living on this planet in the green, living more in harmony with each other. There is no concept of border, there is no concept of religion or identity politics. But the civilization is very fair to Mother Earth. We just have to take that decision, that's it.